Hey there, adventurers! Welcome to the Peaky Brothers, your ultimate guide to conquering the great outdoors and mastering the art of hiking and trip planning. We're about empowering you to embrace the wilderness, plan unforgettable trips, and build unshakable confidence in your outdoor skills. We've set ourselves up on an epic challenge to summit the tallest peak in each of the 50 states. And that's the best part. You're coming with us every step of the way. Get ready to lace up those boots, pack your bags, and embark on the adventure of a lifetime.
Ow! Welcome
to the Peaky Brothers. The Peaky Brothers are not my lover.
They could be though if you are the one who will dance on the peaks with us.
Ka-chow! Ow! Yeah, we're pretty musically inclined, you could say. Or declined.
Musically declined. I like
that. That's why we're hiking instead of pursuing our musical career.
Oh, man.
Anyhow, welcome to another episode of the Peaky Brothers. Today, well, we're glad to have you back. So, step one, we're dirty, rotten liars, and we apologize.
It's true. We had told you guys that we were going to know during this episode when we're traveling to Mount Whitney, but I misread on the website. It's actually the 15th, we'll find out. So, coming to you next week.
And then today we're just going to talk. We had a couple comments about people asking about how to travel cheap and kind of our travel hacks. And so super quick, we're going to go over how we do plane tickets and how we do car rentals. And then we'll hop into what we're taking on our trip and then give you a breakdown of the trip, talk about each of the little peaks, and it's going to be grand. So, to start out, we'll talk about plane tickets. So, for me, what I do is I just go to Google Flights. So, Google has their whole flight thing, which is actually pretty great. And then I choose a major airport near me and then a major airport closest to where I'm going. Because it's cheapest if you can fly out of a big airport and then into a big airport. It's just the way it works. Smaller airports are more expensive. So, and then if your dates can be flexible, so if you don't have necessary dates, you can click on the little calendar and then go to the cheap days. So like $118 to fly out April 9th, and then $118 to come back anytime within the next week and a half. So we'll say the 9th to the 19th, 10 days in Atlanta, and then search. And then it'll come up with a bunch of different flights. So these ones are pretty typical. So $118 right here, no carry-on. Another thing to keep your eye open for are these layovers, because typically cheaper flights have longer layovers. So this 4-hour layover in Phoenix or a 7-hour layover in Las Vegas, you could pay an extra $20 and only have a 2-hour layover in Denver, but your call. So those are the things to keep in mind is no carry-ons. So you need to pack everything in a backpack, and layovers are typically pretty long. If you're flying to Europe, one of my favorite hacks is to have a layover in Iceland. So you get a 2 or 3 day layover in Iceland, and then you fly into Paris or Spain or wherever. And your tickets are cheaper because of your long layover, and you get 2 or 3 days in Iceland. So that's kind of the hack as far as, for me, as far as flights go. What else do you do, Brigham, to keep your flights cheap?
Yeah, so one thing you mentioned there was no carry-on or like check baggage. And that's a big thing for people wanting to travel cheap is you got to learn to travel light. It's like in today's world, everyone thinks you need to bring everything with them, but you really need a few bare bone essentials, and most of those you're wearing when you go, right? So there's a few things you want to have in a personal item, but if you can learn to travel light, the world of cheap travel definitely opens up to you. Um, Another thing to do and be aware of is all of these websites and whatnot. They run on cookies, so they're watching what flights you're looking for. So a couple ways around that: you can clear all your cookies before you go back and look at a flight for a second time, or you can throw on a VPN and or jump on like an incognito mode browser, and that'll help protect you from those cookies and from those websites tracking your search history to try and find out what you're looking for and charge you more for that. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm looking to travel international is actually throw a VPN on for that country that I'm going to or somewhere near there, because typically they're going to charge the foreigners less because it looks like they're going home rather than going on vacation. And so there's a little bit of a price discount there that I've noticed. Also, when you're flying domestic, if you can have like midweek trips and not travel on weekends or be over a weekend, that's typically cheaper as well because you're in the business category rather than like vacation category. So
Yep. So weekends are most expensive. And then how do you do a VPN?
There's a couple VPNs that you could go out there and get. Some of them are free. I've got one that I paid for one time a long time ago, but basically what that does is it changes your IP address to a different location, so it bounces your signal in a different country or a different city, wherever that might be.
Sweet. So yeah.
It's a little bit more involved, but the easy way is just clear your cookies and use an incognito browser.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else as far as plane tickets? Red eyes are normally cheapest. So like a cheap
Yeah.
flight, they're not the best. Like layovers are kind of hard. They're normally super late or super early, but they're cheap. And we like that.
Yeah. Another thing you could do is called Skip Lagged. It's a website. Read up on the reviews on that before jumping into that because you want to be kind of careful with that. But basically what that does is instead of going to the final destination, you're getting off on the layover. So like that example that Christian had, they might be charging $200 to fly to Vegas, but if you bought a $118 ticket to Atlanta and then got off in Vegas, it's a $82 of savings there. You just want to make sure you're not checking baggage or that's going to go all the way to Atlanta.
Yeah. Yep. And then other websites to check out. So you've got Google Flights, and then you've got kayak.com is a good one, kiwi.com is a good one, and then skyscanner.com. Those are all four that are all pretty similar in how they work. So
Yeah.
let us know if you have any other questions as far as plane tickets go. And then Brigham's the car rental expert, so hit us.
I don't know about that, but I've hosted on this site before. So I like to use a site called Turo. You can definitely go through one of the mainstream guys like Hertz or Enterprise. And sometimes you can use like credit card points. And that's probably a whole nother story talking about credit card points and how to use those. But for the average Joe like me, and because I've hosted on this site before, it's kind of like the Airbnb for cars. So basically you've got your average Joes like myself renting out a car on Turo. You can go on your destination, you pick them up at the airport still, just as convenient that way. But you're just working with an individual rather than a corporation. So you're supporting a small business. The prices are generally a lot cheaper. You often have new hosts on there that are giving away good deals to try and get reviews. So you can hook one of those guys up with one of their first trips and leave a great review for them and help them grow their small business while also getting a great deal yourself on a car. So for example, for our trip, we're getting a car for, I want to say it was $180 for basically the week that we're gone, which is pretty wild when you think about The big brands are typically like 50 to 60 a day,
Yeah.
and don't always include unlimited mileage. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into the overhead for those bigger brands that these smaller companies just don't have, and so they're able to save on that. But
So true. And then if you're renting a car in Europe, just be aware 90% of them are stick shift. So if you can't drive stick shift confidently, because the roads there are skinny, the roundabouts are giant. Just if you can't drive stick shift confidently, just be aware that that's what it is in Europe. And then you can also use some of those sites like Kayak or um, I think like Expedia for car rentals. You can also sometimes find some pretty cheap car rentals there. When I went to Europe with my friends, we rented it's like a 9-passenger van, and it cost us I think I don't remember exactly, but it was pretty cheap, like 50 or $60 a day, and then you divide that between the 6 or 7 friends that went, and it was like $10 a day per person, which wasn't bad. And that's another great
yeah,
way to make it a little cheaper is to go with a group of people, and the more people that you go with, the cheaper everything becomes because lodging's divided by 6 and housing's divided and car rentals divided by 6, and so
yeah, maximize those things that you're paying for anyways. If you're renting a car with 5 seats, make sure you have 5 people with you. Stuff like that. Plus, the more the merrier, right? You make a lot of memories with the people that you go with, and you strengthen bonds when you have adventures like that with people. So it's always fun
amen.
to travel with a group.
So true, so true. Cool.
Sweet. So we're landing in Atlanta early Saturday morning, around 6 or 7 a.m. Picking up our car, and we're driving up to the northern border with North Carolina. That's where the first stop, our first peak is, and that's called Brasstown Bald. That's Georgia's high point. So they estimate this hike to be 51 minutes. It's a trail length of 1.4 miles. It's an out and back with 426 feet of elevation gain. It looks like it's paved all the way, so this is a pretty easy hike. And most of these hikes on this trip that we're doing next week are on the shorter length. That's what you get with the Southeast. You get lots of trees, you get old trails that many people have walked, and not a lot of elevation, but we're excited about the diversity that comes with going west and east coast and all the way up to Alaska and Hawaii. So there's going to be a lot of variation. This trip is going to be a lot of smaller peaks for sure.
We're excited. Cool. And then from Brasstown Bald, we
We're gonna
had. Sorry, wait, what?
cross the tip of after Brasstown Bald, we cross the tip of North Carolina up to Tennessee, right on the border there.
Freaking love Tennessee, dude. And then we're going to Klingman's Dome. Sounds super intimidating and exciting, but it's not. It's actually an observation tower, which is kind of fun. So it's like a giant concrete structure that you hike up to, stand there, look out at everything, and then hike back down. It's 1.3 miles round trip, 330 feet in elevation gain, and again, paved all the way. It takes your average human 43 minutes to get there and get back. So pretty chill and shouldn't be too hard to navigate. And then from there, we'll move up to Kentucky to some of Brigham's old stomping grounds.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't grow up around the high point, but I lived in Kentucky for about 5 years, and I'm pumped to get back there. So the high point in Kentucky is called Black Mountain. It's a 3.4-mile length trail. They expect an hour and 31 minutes of travel out and back and 528 feet of elevation gain. We're looking forward to some great views on this one. It's about double these last two in length, so it'll be a good jaunt, and we're looking forward to seeing Kentucky again.
Boy, howdy. And then, let's see here. From Kentucky, we'll cut into
Over to Virginia.
Virginia. And this peak is called Mount Rogers. And it is by far the most intimidating of our hikes, but also still not that bad. So, Mount Rogers is a 9-mile hike. So, 3 times what our Kentucky peak is. 2,000 feet of elevation gain, and it takes between 4.5 to 5 hours to finish it. So not paved. It's going to be a little more intense, but we're going to be going through the George Washington and Jefferson National Forests, which is kind of exciting. And since me being an outdoor recreation major, I get so stoked about national forests and national parks and wilderness areas. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that'll be good. So, literally and figuratively speaking, we're kind of on the downhill from that summit. We'll go down to North Carolina to Mount Mitchell. This is a 0.4 mile trail length, 12-minute walk, 91 feet of elevation gain. It is at out and back. And again, we're going to be in some beautiful country, just not super strenuous on some of these. So,
Yep. So, that'll be Mount Mitchell. And then from Mount Mitchell, we'll head south to South Carolina. Dude, I really love the name of this peak. It is called Sassafras Mountain. And I don't know, it just brings me all kinds of happiness. So, Sassafras Mountain is another observation tower. So, similar to the one in Tennessee, Clingman's Dome. And another just crazy strenuous hike, 0.2 miles, 50 feet of elevation gain, and an average 6-minute round trip. So if we're not sweating by the time we're done, we might sprint it and see if we can get it done in a minute. Who knows?
that wraps up the top 6, and then we're actually going to go back through Atlanta over to Alabama, and the high point there is Chiaha Mountain. And mountain is a stretch of the word. The high point says 200 feet of elevation, and it's a 1 mile trail. They're expecting 30 minutes out and back. So should be a good little leg stretcher on the long drive that we have all the way over to Mississippi.
Good old MISSISSIPPI. And we say hello to Woodall Mountain. And again, these southern peaks aren't really peaks. So the Woodall Mountain, the Mississippi high point, is 0.1 miles in trail length, 9 feet of elevation gain, and an average 2 minutes to complete. So who knows? We might be able to join the sub 30-second club on this one. It'd be kind of cool.
Set some records, hopefully. And then from there we got another long drive all the way down to the panhandle of Florida to Britton Hill. This is our last stop as far as peaks go, and it's a half-mile length, 9 minutes, with 9 feet of elevation gain.
Wow.
And this one's actually a loop, so we're going to be really huffing and puffing on this one. Looking forward to visiting Florida again.
And the fun fact about Florida is it's 300 feet above sea level. So it is the smallest of the high points. And then who knows, maybe we'll go see the beach. That could be fun. Maybe not. And then we'll go back up to Atlanta and fly home. And that will be that. So
we've got about 4 days. We're not really planning on stopping anywhere to sleep, so to speak. We'll take turns driving, sleeping in the car, just kind of grinding through, so we don't have to worry about lodging. We might visit some friends along the way, some family members, stop in, sleep with them for a bit. We'll see. But basically, we're looking at 40 to 60 degrees of temperature, kind of that spread. And so what are you packing for a trip like this, Christian, in terms of not super strenuous, not a long time? The weather is on the chillier side of temperate, but not too bad.
So what I'll take is I'm definitely gonna take my tennis shoes. This isn't like hiking boot trekking by any means, and so I'll feel more comfortable in my Hokas. So I'll take my tennis shoes and then some warm socks and then some layers. So I'll take like probably I'll take a hoodie, a puffy, and then some more like base layer items, like an exercise jogging shirt. Um, yeah, and I'll wear my leggings, so my hiking leggings. They save me from the chafing, and they help me regulate my temperature a little bit better. So I'll wear my hiking leggings, a pair of running shorts over those, and then for the car, I'm bringing my Igloo. It's my wearable sleeping bag. And so I'll just put that bad boy on and sleep in the car.
Be
So those are
cozy, so cozy.
so snuggly. So those are what I'm planning on taking. I'll bring water filtration just in case. I don't know if we'll need it, but better safe than sorry. And then a headlamp is super important just in case we're hiking in the dark. I'll probably bring a light pair of gloves. I run hot, so my fingers normally run hot when I'm hiking, as well as my feet. So I don't take super thick socks or super thick gloves just because I run warm. So, and you know what they say when you're hiking? You want to be bold, start cold. Because if you start with more layers and you end up sweating, and then you take off your layers, the sweat is actually going to make you colder. So you want to try and stay away from sweat and then stick to moisture wicking fabrics, so like synthetics close to your body. No cotton because cotton is the worst for hiking. So synthetics, wool can be good, but those are kind of what I'm planning on taking. And then
Yeah.
2 pairs of underwear, one that's clean and smells good on my flight there, and then another one that's going to be clean and smell good on my flight home so that I don't have upset seatmates.
Like this guy.
Yeah, like that guy.
I think that's a pretty good list. We don't need ice picks or anything like that. Nothing crazy for this trip. So, and we're staying light. So we're not bringing hammocks and camping chairs and a bunch of silly stuff like that. We're bringing the necessities to keep ourselves comfortable and enjoy this as much as possible. Kind of like we talked about in the last episode about the different types of fun. We don't want it to be a miserable experience, so we're gonna dress appropriately and pack appropriately, but we want to keep the pack levels down, and just the lighter you are, the more open you are to adventure. So we'll have be able to jump in and go swimming in our running shorts, stuff like that. We're going to be ready for any type of adventure that might come our way that way. But yeah, really excited for this. Obviously, we'll have all our camera stuffs are set up there. I actually had a nightmare last night.
Oh no!
We went on this trip and totally forgot to bring any camera stuff.
That would be so unfortunate. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So that was one of my dreams last night. That was fun.
Oh goodness, that does not sound like fun. And so if you guys have any questions or anything specific that you want to see when we go on this trip, please let us know in those comments below. I'm like pointing at my legs right now, but I hope you guys see in the comments below. And then the one other thing is to just like be aware of safety. And so I was talking to one of my professors. She's from Alabama. And anyways, I was talking to her about this little trip, and she said, if you need anything, like, don't hesitate to reach out. I have friends that live 45 minutes from like each of those high points. She has a different friend that lives pretty close to each of those spots. So she said, if you ever get in a cookie, well, not a good cookie, if you ever get in a crunch, just let me know and I'll connect you with one of them. And so like your connections with people are priceless. So
Yeah.
And then we have a buddy, Ethan. He's in Tennessee. And then is it Micah that's in Georgia?
Yeah, Micah's down in Alabama.
Alabama.
So pretty close to the Florida high point, though. That's what he's near there.
And that's your uncle, right?
Yep.
Dope.
Yeah, my mom's younger brother. He's a pilot down there, and hopefully we'll get a chance to go and see him. So
Cool. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions, comments about anything really.
yeah, and if you're in the area, want to hike one of these hikes with us, or if you want to join in on one of our future trips, like we mentioned, we love making memories with everybody. So let us know, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Yeah, love to have you. Cool beans. Well, we love you. All the love
Much love.
from the Peaky Brothers.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Wow,
How's it going?
that's cute.
Thanks. Makes my pecs look big. Ugh.
What girl did you steal that off of?